Is it popular for foreigners to go to Denmark because it's such a wealthy country? Like international companies go there, or investors or business owners?
I don't think so.
No, I think there are a couple of big companies, big international companies like Maersk, the shipping company, Novo Nordisk, the medicine right producer, and like that's where people go, like to these two. Lego,
Yes.
probably Lego is like
Yes.
the third
Oh
one,
yeah. Uh-huh.
and that's where Pandora, if you know,
Yeah, yeah.
Pandora is also, and these are the international companies where people go to. But that's basically it.
But you seem to be talking about like attractivity for companies or for investors, and I think that's where you have something interesting here. The tax are really high,
Yeah.
and it's accepted because it's a system that works efficiently, and but yet they are really really high. You know what I mean? So I think it's in that sense it's not a system that is really attractive. Like the big companies here, they are Danish companies. They are not companies from abroad that moved here. You know what I mean?
Because they can make more money in other places, maybe international companies, because of the tax rates.
I mean, I cannot imagine a big car manufacturer all of a sudden deciding to move its headquarters to company. I don't see why they would do that.
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't want to pay Danish taxes and then live in a different country where you can't kind of reap the benefits of those, right? Of the social programs. That would be a bad combination.
I think you're touching an interesting point, because there are so many places where you can earn a better salary in terms of the simple amount of money that's ending up in your bank account, right? But what you might not necessarily get is a system that is wealthy but in a different way. Like you have a fantastic social protection, you have a fantastic setup for building a family, and you know that you will get time to spend with your newborn baby. Your kids will get fantastic education, or
Free education
for free, starting from the kindergarten. Like, it's so good that private schools are not really a thing. They exist, but it's not really a thing.
And they're also affordable. So private schools are affordable here. The private schools, they cost the same amount as the kindergarten, basically.
I was having a conversation with someone about this just the other day, on how comparing places that have low taxes and low services and places that have high taxes and high services, or lots of services. And my theory is that for the average person, like not a super wealthy person, but for an average person, if you earn like $10,000 in 1 month and you don't pay any taxes on that, but the place you live doesn't offer any services, you're going to end up spending a lot of that money just to fund your life, to pay for school for your kids. When you go to the hospital, your medical bills, maybe you have student loans that you need to pay back. You lose your job and suddenly you're not making any income. That's going to cut into your savings, all of that stuff. You have a baby and now you can't work. Whereas if you made $10,000 in Denmark, and I don't know what the number of taxes is, but let's say you pay 60% of it, would you still end up with more money at the end of the day, or at least the same amount of money after you get all those services for free?
Well,
I'm not sure about the money, but definitely less stress.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely less, like you have a peace of mind here. You know that whatever happens to you, the social security will help you. Yeah. And if you lose your job, you have an insurance that you can have paid. There are certain laws that you get money paid out if you get fired, right? So you will not starve. You will not, you don't think about those things. And about kids, of course, that they can go to the university for free, that you don't need to think about their education in the future and what they need to do in order to obtain that.
But it comes with a price, right? There will be a lesser gap between what CEOs earn compared to entry-level employees, for instance. It's not, absolutely not comparable to other countries, be it neighboring, or I'm thinking now of the US, where the gaps can be even bigger. It's a very egalitarian, but it comes with pros and cons. It takes the idea of the salary amount being the main thing, it takes this idea a little bit out of your head, and you start. I mean, if you really embrace it, it's you start thinking, oh, okay, I'm actually really not thinking of, is the school going to be good for the kids? Is the, you really don't have to think about that. It's a system that works, and
Yeah.
that carries such a big value when you think about it. You can still be ambitious and make a fantastic career, and you can still become a football player and earn tons of money. It's possible, but generally speaking, for the many, the value comes with the fact that it's relatively equalitarian and brings a minimum service to all that is really, really good, really high quality.
And it impacts it impacts also the way that young kids are choosing their career, which I find amazing in
Oh, yeah.
comparison to other countries.
Yeah.
They don't think about, oh, this I want to do this, but I cannot because I will not earn enough. I will go this direction because this is what, I'm going to become a lawyer or a doctor, like in the majority of countries. Here, you really do what you want to do. And this is how kids choose their jobs. And you see it. So when you talk to people who are doing a certain job, they're passionate about it. And that is, you really feel it in like everyday life. So it's a circle that kind of, all the things that kind of impact each other. And that's what you also want for your kids in the future, right? To choose a career that they want.
And what's interesting about that is that, people that are in favor of having lower taxes and just kind of like a more open kind of economy in that regard will criticize places like Scandinavia and say that people will have less motivation to work or to create companies if they have to pay taxes that are too high because they won't want to work. But the flip side of that is, like you said, if you're not so focused on your salary, you can actually follow your passions, which will make you more motivated to work, right? Like if you're doing something you actually enjoy, why wouldn't you, be happy there?
The thing, I don't know where the truth really is, right? I'm not an economist, and I can understand that there are real questions, right? You have to be fair when you evaluate the various country situation. Like, no, we know that Norway sits on a pocket of oils, which has made the country extremely rich, but they've also managed it extremely well. Sweden, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure where the wealth is based from, but Denmark also had oils, and they also took this turn after the war to build an economy that is based on what they call social democracy, basically, and it works. And I also can understand the idea that you need some liberalism in your economy. You cannot, I mean, it's not it's not a communistic society. It's not planified. It's nothing like that, right? But there is it feels like there is like just the right amount of liberalism, of freedom, and of planification, and of, you know what I mean, and it sort of kind of works properly. It's also, maybe that's a parameter, I don't know, but these are also fairly small nations compared to countries like Germany or France or the UK. It feels maybe more able to reach consensus when it comes to big long-term decisions, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you that as a French, we see ourselves, and I think that's quite a good evaluation. We see ourselves as incapable of, or struggling with agreeing on long-term decisions, and struggling for that reason to reform the country in a way that that could be needed. So I don't know where the truth lies exactly, but they seem to have found a good recipe. That's
A
for
sweet
sure.
spot. At least, it works there anyway. Yeah, it's hard. Like, and even in countries, I mean, maybe even a more extreme example in comparison to France would be like the U.S., right, with 50 states and over 300 million people, and trying to come to a consensus on anything is impossible. And that's why you have so much kind of autonomy, I guess, in each individual state. They want to do things in their own unique ways because they can't agree with that many people. So that does work in Denmark's favor.